All right, guys, what's going on? Grab a pen and jot this down. Today we'll talk about Tesla, Meta, and Apple earnings. I looked over a couple of the results. They're interesting. Obviously, they're hot stocks. Big tech, Mag 7, whatever you want to call it. First up, I looked at Apple, probably because it's the most notable company in terms of the scale and size, but it's obviously been the biggest winner for the last decade. The most notable two facts that I think most investors need to know about is one, Buffett obviously sold out because I think he had just too much exposure. But now, after this week's release, it's really interesting to see that Apple has been almost stagnant in growth for the past few, I think, years. And now we have to worry about, are you just paying a low multiple for no growth? That seems to be the case. I saw that the service revenue is much larger now as opposed to their new hardware sales. And the question comes, is it going to be more new iPhones or stale iPhones, or is it going to be more MacBooks or Macs? I don't think so. I don't know what they're going to do. I didn't see much about their VR headsets, but I thought it was pretty interesting. I think that stagnant growth is pretty much their story. They're pretty much matured, so they're not really going to go anywhere, which leads me to Meta, because I found Meta's VR smart glasses, Quest Pro 2s, and the Ray-Ban smart glasses to be really good. They seem to be very good. And I think they've really captured this metaverse stuff. I think as opposed to Apple that has terrible Apple intelligence and AI, Meta with Llama open source seems to be a much better product overall. And there are a couple other things I saw. I think they're growing at 3-4% in terms of collective user growth. So they're still on the top line. I looked at the charts since 2022, the stock is like 6x. So this company's continued to be just like dominate the industry, still kill online advertising, still have the best social media tools and products. Probably the only concern that I've seen for Meta is that advertisers saying some of the ROI is getting pushed back because they probably just hit scale now. So they're just not acquiring new types of users. It's just the same old base, and people have exhausted their customer base. So that's pretty interesting to keep an eye on. I have my eye on Meta because Llama is open source, and so is DeepSeek. So DeepSeek's R1 is interesting because everything that was built in China is open source. So all the competitors, Perplexity with Perplexity Pro, has provided R1 reasoning on their search platform. So I was surprised to see that no one's doing it for Llama, but that just goes to show how much better DeepSeek is. So that was interesting. And then last but not least is Tesla. So obviously they had blowout earnings. The company's firing on all cylinders again. Elon mentioned a lot of things on their earnings call that's worth listening to. I think they'll start rolling out some new releases related to Optimus for the robot. The new, I think, Model Y was released, so they had some guidance on that. So I think overall amazing. What I think is least understood regarding Tesla at the moment is their real world AI. And I think this is where it's just hard to price and value. We really don't know what it's going to look like. I've been looking at the GPUs and data centers that all these companies are installing from the infrastructure side, and it looks very impressive. And Tesla seems to have, obviously Elon seems to have the lead on both XAI, Tesla, and probably something in SpaceX as well. But the more interesting part is how much they're investing in that space. And actually, I didn't mention that for Meta as well. They're all investing heavily into infrastructure, data center infrastructure. So that's like my recap. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. I might do a write-up on them, but I recommend checking them all out. They were interesting. Let me know what you've seen or what you're thinking about on these companies as well.